My sister is getting married in December. About 3 weeks ago she sent me and my husband a link to this gift she wanted us to buy for her. It was a very, very expensive and weird gift for a wedding. But she said this was what she wanted us to buy her. My husband responded that we appreciated the suggestion and would take it in mind when buying her gift. She responded that no, it wasn't a suggestion, it was what she wanted us to buy. He told her it was very expensive and we might find something similar for them. She replied again with no, she wanted that. She then sent a further 3 links where we could purchase this item in the United States, so we wouldn't be shopping overseas. I told her it wasn't going to be possible for us to buy it. She told us we need to show up with a gift and this is what she'll accept from us. There was more back and forth over the week that followed until ultimately I told her we would no longer attend the wedding if the gift was more important. She said fine, screw me if I was going to let a gift stop me from showing up and supporting her, and that I was a horrible sister. My parents can't believe we are no longer going. They said my sister is just being a brat and I should still show up and bring whatever gift we choose. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your sister stated that you needed to show up with that particular gift and that's all she'd accept. Well, you cannot meet the requirements of your attendance at her wedding, thus you should not attend. Seems like a logical conclusion to me. Sometimes you've got to fight fire with fire. What kills me in this is that your parents can't believe you're no longer going and then say she's just being a brat about things. Just a bridezilla being a bridezilla, we just deal with it. The wedding isn't supposed to be about extorting people who care about you. If she only wants very specific expensive things, she could have just asked if guests would do cash gifts or checks instead. That being said, if it was a friend, I would cut off the friendship and not go. Given it's your sister, I just want to check if she is normally like this, or if you think something might be happening that's causing her to act like this before deciding not to go. I think you're well within your rights and making a good call to not go and maintain your boundaries. It might be worth doing one last check-in with your sister to see what's going on if this is unusual behavior. You aren't letting a gift stop you from showing up at your sister's wedding, she is. She pretty much told you that you have to bring a specific gift in order to attend her wedding. You informed her that you are not willing to pay her price for admission into her wedding. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Obviously, she cares more about an expensive gift than she does about having you there. I'll preface this by saying that my 45 son Tim, 23, recently got married to his now wife Sarah, 22. We get along just fine as a family. Though she tends to act passive-aggressively sometimes. She loves food and is always open to trying my cooking. She said my cooking was amazing, though she made few negative comments about certain meals and advised me to use XYZ ingredients next time. I invited them over for Thanksgiving yesterday. The whole family was there. The bell rang and I opened the door to see Tim and Sarah. Sarah was carrying what seemed to be a container. I didn't ask about it nor paid much attention to it. Everyone sat down to eat after I set up the table and put dinner on it. My main dish was the traditional Thanksgiving dish every family in our community knows. I had appetizers and side dishes and of course salad and dessert. Sarah then put the container on the table and started unloading food onto her empty plate. Everyone was watching as my eyes widened up. I asked what she was doing and she said she brought her own food to eat since she won't eat what I cooked. I was stunned. I politely asked if there was a reason for that and she shook her head. I asked if she was vegan, she said no. I asked if she was allergic to anything at the table and she said no. I asked if she was having an upset stomach or anything but she said no. I asked then, why not eat what I cooked for them all day? She just smiled at me, which set off. I told her that it was disrespectful of her to bring food to the Thanksgiving dinner that I was hosting. She started arguing that she gets to eat whatever she wants whenever she wants. I said it's about basic respect and decency. Tim asked her to at least try some of the dishes I prepared, but she lashed out telling him that him and I were being unbelievable by deciding what she should eat and forcing her to take it. I said it wasn't like that, but she just got up and said she did not appreciate how I insulted her for simply not wanting to eat my food. She grabbed her stuff, excused herself and walked out. Tim quietly followed her and they left. I was so upset. Everyone was just staring. My husband said I should have just let it go and not comment on Sarah's food choice, but I couldn't help but feel disrespected in my own home. He said I made dinner awkward by focusing so much honestly. Tim texted me this morning apologizing, but said I should talk to Sarah to clear the confusion. But I'm not sure if there was any confusion. She chose to bring food to my house after I cooked especially for her and the others. You're the idiot. Since she has eaten your food before, it's odd that she brought her own food, but she may have a reason she isn't comfortable telling you about. She doesn't owe you her medical information. When we went through fertility treatments, my doctor encouraged me to be careful about food poisoning, much more than most people would consider necessary. It was the same when I went through cancer treatment. You're the one who kept pushing the issue, drawing attention to it, and spoiling the meal. She didn't say anything critical of your cooking or your meal. You started to fight, and they left instead of dealing with your behavior. You put your pride over spending time with your son and his wife. Not the idiot. Honestly, if someone invited you to a meal and you are unwilling to eat it, then you decline the invitation. Thanksgiving is generally a meal-centric celebration. Going to a birthday party or retirement party and discreetly putting some snacks in your purse isn't the same as coming for a sit-down meal and refusing to try anything. I don't think it's out of line to ask if she had a food allergy or anything. Because I'd want to let them know what things might be safe to eat. Her behavior would have hurt my feelings. Could you have raised an eyebrow and just let everyone at the table judge her? Sure. But I actually think I might be shocked enough to have blurted something out too. You were incredibly rude to make your daughter-in-law feel unwelcome. To put a guest on the spot like that and grill her was not about her bringing food, it was you being controlling and wanting to feel superior to her. Shame on you. At least she had enough class to not get in a verbal dispute with you and simply wanted to enjoy her meal. She didn't disrespect you in any way, but you certainly treated her badly. I'm a chef, and I take what I do seriously, and yet I'm a person with severe food allergies, and sometimes have to take my own food. I would never want to be treated the way you treated your daughter-in-law. And if someone doesn't like my food, I damn sure don't take it personally. My dad married Susan last year. She was divorced, and her ex is not in the picture. Her kids are 7, 4 and 3, she was pregnant when they met, they dated long distance for 2 years. My dad started dating her about 3 months after my mom died. I knew about it, but he told me it was online, so it wasn't the same as going out and dating at the time. It's been awkward as hell for me. I have been placed in the role of babysitter, so they can have date nights and stuff, and my dad tells me to do it out of a love and obligation for the family. Only, I love him, he's my dad and all, but his wife, her kids, I really don't care about them. I kinda wish I didn't have to interact with them. And I hate that I'm stuck babysitting. Susan told me her kids love having a big brother who spends time with them, and it kinda struck me that it's part of why they do it. They want me to spend actual quality time with her kids and be their big brother, and saw babysitting as the only way to enforce it at my age, 16. My dad told me they were going out Friday night and I would need to babysit again, and I grumbled. He said I make it sound like a chore. I told him it's how I see it. He told me it's time with my siblings. I told him I resented and I don't see them as siblings, they're his wife's kids, just like his wife is his wife. I told him I do it because I love him, not because I love all of them, but I still resent having to do it. He said I had a horrible attitude and to think of how the kids would feel if they knew I didn't at least like them. I told him that's always a risk you take when you hype someone up as a sibling to younger kids without asking the older kids how they feel. He told me not to talk about it around them and to fix my attitude because it's an idiot's attitude. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. My siblings are 5 and 10 years younger than I am. I grew up being their babysitter so that my parents could continue their pre-child lifestyle. As a result, I was bitter from having missed out on time socializing as a teenager, and I also had a dynamic with my siblings that saw me as their caretaker rather than a sibling. We didn't have a real relationship until I was almost 30 and they were in their 20s. Being forced into a relationship, especially one where you're in charge of their safety and well-being, is not going to create a bond with your siblings. As a mom and a person with siblings, you are not obligated to love someone. I have an older half-sister. I don't dislike her, I just don't love her. To be honest, I don't anything her, if that makes sense. Our dad knows. He has never made me feel bad about it. Tell your dad you will no longer babysit without a week's notice and payment. You can give a family discount if you feel better about it. But you are never obligated to watch someone else's children against your will. That breeds more resentment. Not the idiot, but your father is. What is it with parents thinking that they can just force a sibling relationship where none exists, especially after something as dramatic as a divorce? You cannot force a relationship, especially if one of the parties is not at all interested, and you are not required to be interested in having a relationship with these randoms. Also, it sounds like your dad did not seek your input on the matter prior to moving the new family in, but is expecting you to support it regardless. I owns a med spa. Before and during our marriage I've always been allowed to have free procedures done at his practice. It was awesome and he agrees I never abused it, was always polite, didn't visit terribly, often due to childcare, full-time work, and being a student. Admittedly I got a lot of free skincare work, and it was a huge perk. My husband had a contentious first marriage, and it continues to be so with his ex-wife. A few months ago I happened to see her side in an argument, there are children involved, and the next day my husband told me no more skincare or services. His reason is that I have no comparable perks to offer him, so why should we bother? That hurt. A lot. But okay. I'm not going to fight about. I'm 7.5 months pregnant and feeling pretty frumpy. He's upset about two things. 1. Occasionally people find out I'm married to owner of X. Inevitably I hear you're so lucky. Twice since this has happened I laughingly say, I don't get free work. Well, it's a painful subject for me, I find this embarrassing. So I just treat it lightly but set the record straight. I've never done fillers or any altering procedures, so people always sort of wonder, and sometimes ask in a leading manner, if I've ever had work done. I look my age with good skin, I don't have any shame over this. My husband is furious and even though has not been present is convinced I am disparaging him all over town. He's forbidden me from communicating with his family, even though this is something I would never mention. Important to note there is no history of this behavior. 2. I'm super pregnant and feel frumpy. I'm getting a skincare procedure done at a competitor. We're on the same town and I'm not saying who I am married to, but it's an unusual last name. I have my own income and pay for this myself. I'm hurt but not trying to embarrass him. I plan to correct misconceptions though and continue to maintain my skin. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot, that's his abusive behavior. He only will let you use the med spa services if you have something to add. How about being his wife? Carrying his child? Sharing your lives? This is very wrong that he takes things away if you disagree. This is financial and emotional abuse. Then when you tell the truth he gets upset that people might know his own actions. Is he ashamed of his actions? It sounds like it. Why? Because he knows it's wrong. Listen carefully, no decent partner should ever forbid you from speaking to family for fear of telling them what they did. I'm sorry to say it, but you are in an abusive relationship. Even if he was an angel before. He's shown his colors now. Please run while you can. Why would you even need to offer something of comparative value? Is he giving you a gift, no expectation of repayment, or is he bartering in exchange of items? An obsession with things, being even or fair, can end in disaster. But if this is what he wants, what is he offering you that's of comparative value to growing a person? If you want to stay not the idiot, then it's time for a conversation about why it's not okay for him to punish you for agreeing with his ex on something. An explanation on why you agree with the ex. And all the issues that are now cropping up because of your husband telling you no more free treatments. You can talk to whomever you want. Your husband is punishing you for having an opinion that differed from your husband. Examine the rest of your marriage. How else does husband punish you for not agreeing? Make very clear to your husband you are your own person. And you can have an opinion about anything to anyone. Tell husband punishing you for an honest opinion is a great way to drive a wedge and discourage communication. Maybe you're witnessing why husband has an ex. My husband and I, both late 20s, got married in a small ceremony 2 weeks ago with 20 people. My husband and I have been on the honeymoon phase since we started dating. We've been together for 8 years now as a couple, and never once did we feel like we're getting sick of each other or tolerating each other. We have established a pretty healthy relationship and communication and the necessary boundaries, and we're happier than ever in our choices in life. My husband's brother, my brother-in-law, is in his early 30s, couple of years older than my husband. He's been in a relationship with his girlfriend for around 5 years. At first they seemed to get along, but lately they proved they're both toxic for each other. We've talked to both of them and advised them, but they don't listen, so at this point we stay out of it. My brother-in-law and his GF barely give any attention to each other and zero affection. You show more affection to a stranger on the street than they show each other. Due to this, my brother-in-law always makes bitter comments about how soon enough my husband and I will get tired of each other too, and good things come to an end, and how we'll just end up company existing. My husband has told him off multiple times, calling him insecure and telling him to mind his business. Yesterday my brother-in-law came over to my house to pick some stuff while my husband was out grocery shopping and I was alone in my house. I was in a good mood because my husband and I planned a movie dinner date night, and my brother-in-law picked on this and started mocking us in a malicious way, saying that he can't wait till we finally get sick of each other. I found his comment pretty rude and insulting and told him that it's not mine and my husband's fault. He's in a loveless relationship and settled for someone he doesn't care about and doesn't care about him, and he's jealous and bitter over what me and my husband have. I told him to stop projecting his own love life issues onto ours. He told me there's no need to be an idiot about it and grabbed the stuff and left. A bit later my mother-in-law called me and said I acted poorly towards my brother-in-law and how I shouldn't insult him because he simply shared his opinion. My husband says I'm not the idiot and brother-in-law deserved it, but my in-laws implied that I am. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your brother-in-law is just bitter and jealous because honestly, who the heck wants to be miserable with their SO all the time? Don't you get tired of not being happy? Why would you wish that on anyone else as well? If you're simply just tolerating your SO, then that should be a sign that you all either need couples therapy or that you all just shouldn't be together, period. Tell mother-in-law to mind her business and that if she would focus on her own marriage, and then maybe she'll realize that you're not supposed to get tired of your husband or wife. It is not okay to wish sadness on someone because you're sad, but doing so sounds like a cry for help to me. Your brother-in-law seems critically unhappy and he wants to spread that around, partly yes, because he's jealous, but more because he's feeling trapped, and if you also fight all the time, then his relationship is normal and he can be allowed to settle. Your husband should spend some time with him until he's willing to open up about why he feels trapped into this unhappy pattern. Honestly, even just checking in to make sure he's not super depressed would be good because he's acting very confrontational, and that's a big red flag for men feeling overwhelmed. The only thing is that you sort of sunk to his level with a response, which I don't blame you for. A person can only take so much. But people like this either want to make you uncomfortable, which makes them feel better, or for you to sink to their level, which in their mind gives them justification to continue to be an idiot. He knows why he's unhappy, and instead of fixing his situation he's trying his hardest to get you to join him. It's one of those things where it's super easy to say, just ignore him, but sometimes you have to swat an annoying fly.